everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine. So today we have got a new episode of our franchise zoo, Lakefield Zoo, and this is what we did last episode. This is the sun bear habitat, and here is one of our little sun bears that we added. So this is what their build looks like. I did get a couple of comments, and I think I agree with them last time, saying that these climbing structures, they're nice, but they don't really look like bear climbing structures. They look more like ape climbing frames. So I will keep them, and I think we can reuse them, or at least reuse parts of them for these bears as well. But I might swap out some of these sections for some bigger log climbing structures that are more suitable for bears. I like a lot of these rope ones because they kind of look like hammocks, and I think that might be realistic for a bear to use. Oh no, our anteaters are stressed. Let's have a look at them for a minute. Is it because, yeah, it's trying to hide from these people over here? They are hidden. Yeah, they're getting better now. It's annoying because the crowd is quite far away from them. I wonder if it's because they're being noisy. Yeah, I'm just going to put a few of these signs around them and sort of hide them under the ground, so that encourages guests to be a bit quieter, because these are really some quite shy animals. So hopefully that helps. I mean, it doesn't help that they've got quite a small enclosure as well. It seems to be improving. It might also just be because their food was really close to here, which is annoying because I thought this foliage would hide the guests. So let's try just raising this up a tiny bit. We could also just move this further back so that it's not quite as close to the guests. And also just quickly, I noticed that the babirussas have just aged up the babies that we got last episode. So we could get rid of these two, our new offspring, and they're all on contraceptives. Oh no, all of our babirussas are on contraceptives. We need to take one off. So how about we take off Fern, because she's the highest quality. So that can now be our breeding female. And then we could get rid of these new two girls, release them to the wild, because then we'll have some space for babies, because I think we can have a maximum of 5 babirussas, so that will help. Now their welfare overall is orange. Okay, well we can definitely improve enrichment, toy enrichment. Their current toy enrichment, they're just bored with. So we could give them this. That looks nice. Okay, well, it's met its needs. We could just add, how about this? We'll just add this snowball in here. And that has improved their welfare. So they are now green. And our sun bear is about to mate, so that's exciting. Hopefully that's successful. Whilst we're sorting this, I just want to check if any of our other animals have like an orange welfare status. But no, they all seem fine, which is really good. I might, however, just send off some of these whilst we're here because they lead super quickly. Okay, so I also noticed that we were getting a lot of ticket refunds, like a lot. I don't know why. I can only assume it's because of the happiness rating of the guests, because they're happy with the prices, and it's probably largely down to our education rating. Also a little bit down to thirst, and then general happiness. Tell me down below if you know if the happiness level is a result of all of the things below it, or if it's a separate thing. If we just click on a random guest, their happiness is influenced by the quality of animal viewings, their needs, and things that affect them negatively. So they're not having some great experiences, which is sad. Their needs are all met. Yeah, they're just not having a great time at each exhibit, which is really odd. I don't know how I could possibly make their experience any better. Oh wow, their thirst is low. But yeah, I haven't had a look at these tabs either for the facilities or the education really at all yet. So why don't we just take a look at this? The drink shops are in very high demand and the scenery is low, so that also could affect happiness, I suppose. The information centres are efficient, which is really good, and the toilets look like they are efficient. Oh, and I did notice this toilet was looking very, very dirty earlier, and it was because these are set to be visited every year, and I think that's not often enough. So how about every 6 months? But yeah, it's just drinks and education. So I'm kind of waiting on us to unlock a new drinks shop, and then I want to open a new drink shop. Dare I say we could even afford to have a couple more vendors. I mean, we added some last time. How about we just train up all of the vendors so that they are all at least 3 stars, and even, yeah, just train up these 3 stars one as well, and that will help with efficiency. let's just add one more vending machine. Oh, and we've unlocked some more food shops. Well, we kind of would prefer some drink shops, frankly. Oh, we are really, really close. So I might just, yeah, I'll wait for that to be unlocked and then we can place down another drink shop. Oh, we've had another giant anteater baby. It's another boy. So if you have any name suggestions for a giant anteater, then let me know down in the comments below. And Flo is about to mature. Oh no. Their toy enrichment is terrible in the otters here. Look, we could give them this platform float maybe? How about that? And then we could give them a ball for their indoor area. How about a sprinkler? Still not enough though. How about this box? Still not enough. Or this little jet sprinkler. So their enrichment is perfect now. We have got some broken down facilities though. Yes, we've just unlocked some. Perfect. So we've got Pip Shop water. So let's get rid of these two. And even actually this one, that's just a duplicate one. But we could get this water and it might help to have some variety. So let's add it to the work zones, vendors entrance. They've not been added. Yeah, let's add both of those in. And that one needs to be added to vendors entrance as well. Then we need the mechanic entrance. So they need the ATMs here and these two. Oh, a Babaroos is about to have offspring again. I didn't realise that they were already pregnant. See, yeah, these are all like really positive thoughts, even though like a lot of guests were having negative thoughts about our enclosure. Let's go around and see if guests like all of the enclosures enough. Yeah, you can get a good view. It says it's got lots of plants in it. We could delete some of these. This is a really positive one about the sunbears. Peafowl, they're not too happy with the peafowl viewing. It says the habitat's got lots of plants in it. So that might actually be blocking the guest's view. So how about we just delete some? Okay, so I've just deleted some of the plants in this peafowl enclosure, so hopefully that helps. How is this one? Oh, okay, so they've got some really, really nice feedback. Otters is positive, that giant anteaters is really positive, monkeys is positive, and so is the Babaroosas. Oh, and we've got another little baby boy this time. Oh, okay, so that's really exciting. So in our drinks research, the next one we're getting is this coffee shop, which I'm really excited to get because I want to add one at the other side of the zoo, and I want to also place Bernie's Bakes at the other side of the zoo so we spread them out a little bit more and have some variety. So I won't place another one down until we do that, but what we can focus on until that happens is the education levels. So I'm filming the first part of this episode before we get the update and the new pack, but yeah, that does mean that sadly we don't have roaming educators yet at this point, but we will be adding them hopefully at some point in this episode. But yeah, so let's take a look at the education level. It says overall education boards are the majority of our education. Audio guides are helping, conservation boards are helping. Which one is which? So is conservation, yeah, it's like the general education, and then education is like the species education. So that is helping. Education speakers we've got none of, and for some reason talks is not helping our education level at all, even though our animal talks have had a lot of guests. So I really don't understand why that is. Is that a glitch? Because if I go over here, her habitat, this is the guest reached in the last 12 months. It says 0 have seen this animal talk, and yet when we go into the talks and go to capuchins, it says nearly 500 people have been reached. If you have any guidance on that, please let me know why that's happening, because that seems really bad. Yeah, there's some sort of disconnect there. So in the meantime, I'm gonna add some educational speakers, but only to like the indoor spaces that we've got. So for example, we could definitely have them in here. Actually, hang on. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create like a speaker group. If I add them to group, I can hide them underground. I can place it here, assign it to sunbears. Don't want it to be too big. There maybe? Yeah, one here. Oh no, why can't I place another one there? It says they're overlapping, but they're not. Let's leave it as just one there for now then, if that's going to be a pain. Oh, and we've completed the food shop research, so we can get our other researcher on something else. How about the Australia theme? Because I'm sure that's got some useful objects somewhere. Yeah, we've got one speaker there. I mean, we could definitely have an educational speaker here temporarily on the sun bears. And then I think we could have one here near to the giant anteaters, because it's kind of under a shelter here, so it kind of makes sense that they might have a speaker somewhere. Add giant anteaters, hide it back here. Yeah, I don't want it to bother the animals, so if we just keep it there, then hopefully it won't bother them. We've got some vet research on the sun bears. Oh, lovely. And we've got our drink shop research as well, so I'll pause it now and we can add a coffee shop in a minute. Let's get another speaker over here near the otters, giant otters. Yeah, again, I don't really want it to bother the otters, so maybe a small one. Let's put it underground. We could just place some of these speakers and make it look like it's coming out of these speakers. Let's just put one here and no music, so it's just for show. So let's do the same over here. Let's just add in a speaker so it looks like that's where it's coming from. Well, let's put two just for the sake of symmetry. One here and then another one over here. I've just placed another speaker down here because I didn't duplicate it. It won't say it's overlapping. I think it's because I had tried to duplicate the speaker. That's why it wasn't working. There. Okay. And then I just want to check on our otters because I'm pretty sure that Flo might have aged up. Yeah, Flo's aged up now, so we need to release her to the wild, which is really good because they're endangered, I believe. So Flo has been released to the wild. Oh, our terrapins are miserable again. So whilst we're here, let's just get rid of some of those. Oh, and it looks like our baby meerkats have aged up as well. So we will just put all of the ones that we bred on contraceptives. They're all Lakefield Zoo. And oh look, one of our sunbears is expecting offspring, so due September, so that's a while away yet, but we will be having sunbear babies, so that's really exciting. And then we unlocked the coffee shop, didn't we? So I want to move this Bernie's Bakes over to this side of the zoo, so for now I'm just going to put it here, and then let's buy this coffee shop. So we've got those two there. Okay, let's go to the work zone manager, vendor's entrance. Let's add one to the work zone. I think once we build the restaurant, we'll have to sort out this work zone properly and divide it up because it's a bit of a mess at the minute, isn't it? You're new, so we can train you up and we need to assign you to the vendor's entrance work zone, and the same with you. And it looks like their workload is a lot more efficient than it was. In fact, some of them have low workload. So we need another food shop now that we moved Bernie's Bake. We've got pizza and chief beef, so let's get Monsieur Frites, the chips basically. Add that to the vendor's work zone again, and then again we will have one staff member who needs adding. So let's have a look at their needs. The thirst level is still low, but to be fair, we haven't given them very much time to sort that out, so that's okay. Education, it looks like it might have actually gone up, you know? Why is the research rating so low per animal? Like, most of them are complete, so unless it's all of these, isn't it? We haven't got any disease research complete, so I might get a new vet. I'm going to hire a new vet. Make sure you're on the lowest possible salary. Assign you to vet's entrance. And then I think it was Violet who was working on the research. Yeah, so I'm just going to make her a researcher again because I completely forgot this. I took off our researcher, but I forgot to start researching diseases. We ought to work our way through these, and that will hopefully help with our research level as well. What does this vet's doing advanced research mean? Advanced research bonus points. If anyone knows anything about that, please let me know because I've never seen this feature before. What does it mean? Does it mean that we just have to like complete everything and then we sort of unlock a task to do? Do we need to train up some of our researchers? I mean, I could do that. How about we just train up all of our vets? Because we'll need them to be more efficient the more animals we get. So I don't have a problem with doing that in advance. Some of these need training up as well. Let's train them all up to at least 2. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, our happiness is now green. Oh, that's great. Is it because of the education? Maybe. So let's have a look at the finances. So our zoo ticket refunds have dropped considerably, which is amazing. Oh look, our sunbear is about to have offspring. That happened really quickly. There it is. Look. Oh, we've got a little girl. Oh, here she is. She's so cute. I've never seen the baby sun bears actually. I can't believe I haven't seen them yet, but I haven't. Well, we have a list of boy names, but we do have one female name suggestion for the sun bears. So I'm going to name it Rachel. Ah, look at her go. Let's name her Rachel because someone in the comments said that their girlfriend's favourite animal maybe was a sun bear and that was their name, so they wanted a female bear to be named after them. So that's really exciting, and we've got some more research done on them. Oh no, and we just got a notification to say that we lost Fern, who is the only breeding female of our Barbarossas, wasn't she? So I'm going to take off Aspen instead. Oh no, actually Aspen looks like she's elderly too. So we actually need a new female Barbarossa. So let's go on the trading. Let's adopt her. Send to zoo, send to the quarantine. Oh, and we got some more mechanical research done. And we are looking pretty solidly in the green in terms of guest happiness. So that's really good. And in terms of education, so we're already getting some good responses from the education speakers. I'm just really frustrated that the animal talks aren't working. What I might do then is add an education talk for the cassowaries and even the peafowl as well. If we say January, or even actually February, this one January, and assign them to this work zone. Maybe that'll help, maybe it won't, who knows. Oh, we're about to get another giant otter baby. Oh, and our Barbarossa is ready to be moved into their habitat. So I'll put it into their trade centre first, move them into their enclosure there. And we've now got, oh wow, we've got 2 baby giant otters. That's so exciting. So we've got a little boy and a little girl. Well, we've got some name suggestions for otters. We got the name suggestion Otto, and I think that was for a giant otter, but correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong, and we can always rename them at a later date. So let's name this one Otto. We also got a name suggestion for Bubble. That might work. So yeah, let me know if that's a problem, and I can always rename them or change it to a short-clawed otter if I've just forgotten and not made a note of something. But that's so exciting. And in fact, I might extend their enclosure now. Oh, it's being a pain for this again. Oh, this isn't working, so I've got to remove that anyway. It says they've got 100% of the deep water, and yet for some reason it's not enough. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. I'll do some building now. I'm going to start working on a capybara and tapir habitat over here for the new wetlands animal pack. But anyway, I'm going to start building now, so I will catch back up with you in real time once we are done. Okay, so we are in build mode, and I wanted this capybara habitat and what will end up being the Asian small-clawed otter habitat on a slightly higher level to the rest of the zoo, just to give it a bit of height variation for the sake of realism. So I start by trying to sort the path, and I add a small section of stairs, and at this point I can't remember if I had the 1.9 update when I was doing this, but I don't think I did. But later on I realised that once I did have the update and I'd played around with it a bit off camera, that some of the new tools, including that new terrain terrace tool that we got in the update, would have actually made this a lot easier to build, because it sort of sets the height at a set level and you can match that to the length of the stairs as well, so it would have been more precise and it wouldn't have had that awkward slant where I met up the stair section to the pathing on the other side of the terrain. So it's annoying that I wasn't able to do that when I was building this, but anyway, I just thought I'd point that out in case anyone was having the same issues in their builds and they weren't aware of that new tool that we've just got. And then I did a lot of it off camera, so you might not notice it, but as I was building the capybara's enclosure, I also ended up extending the giant anteater enclosure a bit too. And this is because their enclosure was too small for them, and it has been for a while. Their space level has been in the orange for quite a while now, and although it's not affecting their happiness level overall, I didn't want to risk it becoming a problem in the future because they are also quite shy and and so they tend to get stressed for other reasons as well. So it's just safer for me to reduce as much of their stress as possible now whilst I have the chance. So their happiness level is now safely in the green thanks to that, and we also added some keep quiet signs as well early in the episode, didn't we? So they seem to be working and they haven't gotten upset since that either, so that's really good. And then off camera as well, I also bought some capybaras and tapirs that we end up adding to this habitat, so you'll see them in the enclosure when we return to real time. But I only bought one male and one female for each species, and that was because, well, for the tapirs that's all they required, but the capybaras actually need a bigger social group than that. But I didn't buy any more because they were actually quite expensive, or at least they required a lot of conservation credits. So I thought that they might end up having babies, and that way we could just keep the babies and then they'd be happy after that. Although saying that, the capybaras that I bought did have quite bad fertility ratings because they were the only ones I could afford, so they might not actually be able to have babies, so that might be an issue. But their overall happiness levels seemed to be fine when I put them in the enclosure, so that can be something that we kind of worry about in future episodes anyway. But overall, I'm quite happy with how the enclosure turned out. It's much bigger than what they need, both the capybaras and the tapirs, but I still think that the guests have got a good view of the animals, and the water section seems to be bringing the animals closer to the fence, which is good, so hopefully it gives the guests a good happiness rating. And so far I've been really careful to make sure that the habitats throughout the zoo are as small as possible so that we don't waste space, but also so that the guests can see into as much of the habitat as possible and get a really good view so that the animals aren't really ever too far away. But at the same time, we've also been on the cusp of having a few animal welfare issues when animals start to breed and need more space, like for example with the otters and the peafowl and the giant anteaters as well. So I thought I would start off with more space now than they need, and then we don't have to worry about it later on, especially seeing as we were going to be adding 2 different species into this same enclosure. And they also have a very big indoor enclosure section as well, and there is no guest viewing into the indoor section at the minute, and hopefully this isn't a bad decision. I just thought that it would be more realistic because it's not always the case in zoos that the guests will be able to see inside every enclosure, and I also thought that this would be a particularly good enclosure to do this for as well because there are lots of animals in there. There are 2 types of animals, and this will mean that it's quite unlikely that the guests won't be able to see at least one of the animals at any point. And also I did make sure to add an outdoor shelter area with some bedding as well, so hopefully that also encourages the animals to be outside as much as possible because they can sleep outdoors as well as indoors. And for their indoor section, it is also separated into 2 areas, one for the tapirs and one for the capybaras, because I thought it would be quite realistic that way, just to give them access to separate areas if they ever needed to be separated for whatever reason. And you'll notice that, like last episode, I started to add some of those detail pieces from the European pack that make buildings look a bit worn, the little dirt pieces or mold pieces. So I add some of these to the roof like last episode, and then I think I may have done it off camera, but I also end up adding some to the outdoor pool section as well, just because I thought it looked a little bit too perfect and clean, and there would definitely be some mud around the pool where the tapirs would be tracking mud in. And then I think after I finished filming all of the footage for this episode, so you won't see the finished product in this episode, but off camera I also added some more detailing to the interior and the exterior of this build as well, and I also changed the colour of the walls to the indoor enclosure and extended the roofing out a little bit, just because I think it improves the overall look of the building quite a lot. So the finished product is what the thumbnail looks like, that's the finished product, but you won't necessarily see it in this episode. And it was just because when I was building this indoor section, the lighting in game was a little bit dark and it made the colours look a little bit funny, so I couldn't really tell what looked good and what didn't. So I just later on, when the lighting had changed, adjusted them a little bit and I could judge a little bit better how it all looked. So yeah, like I say, you'll see that finished product next episode. And also off camera, one of the giant otters escaped as I was building, which was a bit of a pain, but I checked their terrain and they don't have any escape routes, so I think it was just a one-off glitch, which is unfortunate because they're a dangerous animal, so it made a lot of the guests run away. But their spacing issues in their enclosure is starting to annoy me now because it's becoming a regular issue that I have to kind of reset and adjust things in there. And I think the reason is because their swimming area, it's enough space for them, but it's just a little bit too narrow, I think, so it's not recognizing it as the amount of space that they need, even though it is. And in the future, I really want them to be able to have more than 2 otters in there at the same time, so I think next episode I plan plan on editing their habitat to expand it just a little bit. So I think I'll have to remove the guest walkway and that habitat and extend their water section out a bit, make it a little bit wider, and then also that will give them some more ground space too, which they are lacking. It's still in the orange, I believe. So that's a shame, but their enclosure has a lot of other good viewing points in and around it, so I don't think it will be a problem for the guests at all, but hopefully I can make it look nice still. And also next episode I want to add an enclosure for the Asian small clawed otters, so if you're interested in watching them, then make sure you come back next episode to see that. So I might make it an otter themed episode so we can fix that enclosure and we can build a new one as well for the small clawed otters. So I'm really looking forward to that because they're one of my favourite animals, the Asian short clawed otters. But that's everything I wanted to say in terms of the building in this episode. But before I end the voiceover, I just wanted to quickly mention that soon I want to host a Planet Zoo community project in my Discord server. So a few people have mentioned some ideas in there, and I think it's going to be themed around custom education, and I will ask people to pick an enclosure for a certain animal and then they have to add some custom education throughout the enclosure build that is specifically designed for either that animal or that enclosure space. So I haven't figured out the details of it yet or the deadline or anything like that, but if it sounds like something that you'd be interested in taking part in, then just follow the Discord link in the video description box below to join the Discord server where that is being organised in there. So I will probably have more information about that in my next video, so stay tuned if that's something that interests you. But yeah, feel free to drop in the server and start discussing it and sharing your ideas. But that's everything I had to say in this voiceover, and it looks like we're about to finish up the build now, so I will stop talking and I will catch up with you in real time. Okay, so I've just finished building, and off camera I added 2 tapirs and 2 capybaras to our enclosure. Here is one of our capybaras. He just looks like he's enjoying the sprinkler over here. What a cutie. They are so gorgeous, these capybaras. I have to admit, having them alongside the tapirs in this enclosure, it just highlights how much the animations and design of the animals has improved over the years, because the capybaras just look so much more detailed and refined compared to the tapirs. Not that I'm upset about how the tapirs look at all, really. I think at the time when the game was new, I was really happy with them and excited to see them. And they're so cute. I love their little snouts. But yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I just think the capybaras look a whole lot better for some reason. So they've got a little pool over here. Hang on, let's just give you a little bit of a tour of what we built. Oh no, we lost Raoul, one of our cassowaries. Oh, that's sad. But yeah, they've got quite a big enclosure. It's massive compared to their needs, but I thought they might have quite a lot of babies, and because there's 2 types of animals in there as well, I thought it'd be quite nice to give them a big space. So there's this guest viewing area over here, and I've just added some education. I haven't assigned these talk points yet. I will do that in a minute. They've got this outdoor shelter area with some bedding, this pool obviously, and then indoors I've got 2 separated sections. So this is a bit of a staff facility section over here. So we've got a keeper room and a staff room, and then we've got one big enclosure over here which I thought would be for the tapirs. So they've got this pool, and I've also added the new pool heating facilities objects that came with the new update, and I had in mind that we would have that pool heated as a bit of an enrichment for them both. This smaller enclosure over here is designed for the capybaras. Yeah, I thought it would be nice to have 2 separate areas where the animals could be separated perhaps at night, or if they don't get on for some reason. I know they are safe together, and they are in fact an interspecies enrichment. So by putting them in an enclosure together, it does provide a form of enrichment for the capybaras and the tapirs. So that's nice. And I was surprised to see just how many other animals you can put the capybaras with. So that's quite a nice thing to notice about the new pack as well. But yeah, hopefully you like the build. Let me know what you think of it down below. Over here is where we've got the new water temperature regulator, and I think the way that you do it is by increasing the temperature of the water over here. So this is the range that it affects, which is quite big actually. I don't know if I can make that smaller or not. Yeah, I can, look here. So if I just lower that, I don't want it to affect that big pool. I literally just want it to affect this tiny pool indoors, and then increase the temperature here. So I think you have to make it at least like 35 is that right? 35 or 40, so let's make it 36, and then hopefully that will act as a water enrichment for the capybaras. So that's exciting. And then we need to create a work zone for these guys. So this enclosure, and we've got this keeper and this staff room as well. Tapir and capybara keepers. We'll also need to add some of these objects to the mechanic entrance, and this is getting quite big now, so we might need to start splitting these up eventually, but for now let's just add them into the same work zone. And let's also add this staff room, why not? And then we need to add some more staff members, I think. So we need at least one keeper, tapir and capybara work zone. And then I want to know how the vets are doing, and the mechanics as well. So the mechanics, some of the mechanics do have a high workload. In fact, I'll train all of the mechanics up to at least 2. Security guards seem to be doing fine. Caretakers are actually fine, surprisingly. Vets up here, they actually have a fine workload, but we do need to add this to the vet entrance work zone over here. So let's add that. The other thing I wanted to look at was educators. So we need to set those talk points. I'm just going to take a look at this educator. So they are not getting any rest at all. I'm so tired, I could do the rest. And it looks like the option for roaming education talks is here, so that's good that it's on. I think what I will do is hire 2 more educators. Let's add them all to educator entrance and then train them all up, because we were having trouble with education, weren't we? The animal talks might not actually be working because the education might not be very good because the educators aren't trained, and the more they're trained the better the education level. So especially if we have roaming educators, that might increase it somehow. It still looks wrong, the fact that it's not reaching anyone. I thought maybe that was because they have been skipping talks because they've been overworked. So if we've got more educators between all of the talks, then hopefully that ceases to become a problem. So let's have a look at the animal talks here and make sure that we've got none of them overlapping. Oh, actually, hang on, we'll have to assign some species here. So I've got 1 for each. So if we make this for the tapir and then we make this one the capybara, we can then make sure that they're not overlapping. So we've got January, February, March. So how about April, May? And that way they just figure themselves out. Oh yes, we just need to add both of these to that educator work zone. Okay, so how is our education level? Still pretty low. Although talks are at least 1%, so that's an improvement. Oh no, Noodle is stressed. Hang on a minute. Is it just the number of people here? Well, we can add these do not disturb signs for them, because that seemed to have helped with the giant anteaters. It's going down when they go indoors, and I'm sure this crowd will disperse in a minute. So let's end the episode here and have a look at our capybaras as we do so. So next episode, I intend to add the Asian short-clawed otters, which I'm really excited about because they are one of my favourite animals. So I can't wait for that. The capybaras and the tapirs also don't have any names, so if you have any name suggestions, then please leave them in the comments down below. But yes, if you like this episode, then please like, comment and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye everyone.